You're listening to the Send It Podcast with Andrew Rawls on World Talk Radio.
Roman 7 Judah Bravo, then ground, turn right on Bravo, runway 1 left, Bravo, and it'll merge with Alpha at Alpha 3.
So you think you want to be a tandem instructor and work in skydiving. It's actually a lot harder than it looks. I have given serious thought to becoming a TI in the past, and I don't know the exact requirements if they've changed, but at one time it was having 500 jumps, 3 years in the sport, a class, whatever it is, medical license. I guess that's class 2 or class 3. And then for the Sigma, which is offered, which is the one you want, the one from United Parachute Technologies, you needed a coach rating from the USPA, like that fucking means anything, but I guess that's what they want you to have. But man, it's tough work, and honestly, I'm one of these people where, you know, I get burnt out on stuff pretty easy, and I think that for becoming a tandem instructor and taking people on their first skydive, while it seems like a lot of fun, you know, you can get burnt out. And then suddenly, you know, if you get burnt out on skydiving, really, what else adrenaline-wise is there to do in life? So I've kind of backed off on that idea. I've got the FAA medical waiver, and I've got the jump numbers and the years in the sport. But yeah, I don't know. I see these guys, you know, and right now there's a shortage of help going on in the industry. In some places they're paying over $50 a jump, and you can even make more than that if you're willing to wear one of these GoPro handy cameras where you get the footage under canopy of you and the customer. And I've heard people doing this making $70 to $80 per jump, but it's a lot of work and a lot of responsibility. And you know, some of these guys and gals are doing 10, 15 jumps on a Saturday, and then another 8 or 10 on Sunday, and then they do a couple of fun jumps. That's a lot of jumping during the week. And you know, when you've got somebody hooked up to you, it's just all that weight. It's a totally different type of skydive than just going out and jumping with friends. But man, when you think about it, those folks are really being worked, and I see it all the time where, you know, they'll just turn loads. So, and what does that mean? That means that they go on back-to-back jumps with no breaks. And if you're in a busy enough drop zone, you can turn 3 or 4 loads at a time. So, you know, and then sliding in on your ass, and, you know, then you've got to worry about folks passing out and puking on you. I've heard the latter can be avoided if you put the harness on correctly, but it's always a definite possibility. And then, you know, you've got people that may have been drinking or eating heavy meals or things like that before they skydive. And there's always the possibility that, you know, nobody skydives. They freak out when the door opens and nobody gets out of the plane. But I don't think that that's for me, and I probably will give it some more thought next year. Again, it's crazy how much these guys and gals are getting paid. It seems like that they've definitely increased the amount of money folks can make per jump. And I know some people who have done close to 100 tandems in 2 or 3 weeks. So there's definitely money to be made, but it's hard work. And I think if you do that, you've got to weigh that, you know what, I may get burnt out on skydiving, and then there goes the fun. So, you know, I've always tried personally to keep the things I enjoy. They say, well, if you find the right thing you enjoy in life, you'll never work a day in your life. But yeah, but if you go at it too hard, you get burnt out. And then, well, what else is there to do with skydiving, right? I mean, you get burnt out. I mean, we take a break, come back. To me, it's just, you know, I don't really know if it's worth it. So it'd be nice to take people on tandems on the weekend and pick up some spare money. But, you know, you also risk getting burnt out and then, you know, not wanting to skydive anymore. And certainly, you know, I'm not there yet. I've kind of been close to it, but you start mixing sport jumps with taking people on tandems, and I believe, at least for me, there goes all the fun. So it's definitely something to consider. I also think then there's varying degrees of instruction as to where you get that tandem rating. Some places are certainly better than others. You can look around on USPA's website, and you know what I would recommend doing is looking at some of the TIs at your drop zone that you really respect, and seeing if they have the examiner rating, or where they would recommend to get that examiner rating if that's something you're interested in. I do think it matters where you got it. So I personally would go to a drop zone that I planned on working at to get that instructor rating. You know, going across country with a rating from someone that, you know, nobody's heard about before, that may not get you a job. And then you got to also factor, when you pay all this money to get the tandem certification, I'm not sure how much it is, probably $300 or $400. Right now, you won't have any difficulty, I don't believe, getting work. That is, taking people on tandems. tandems, but some of these folks may want you to have 300 or 400 tandem jumps under your belt before they'll hire you full time. So I think there's drop zones out there that are looking for people full time during the week, and then there's others that are looking for just some help on the weekends. I'm not aware that you're under any blanket insurance coverage at all working as a tandem instructor. You obviously run the risk there. You would be employed, so I guess you could go on the health exchange and pick up some type of health care, but still it's not going to be the kind of money that you would make, say, in corporate America or a professional position. And it's hard work, like I said. I mean, I personally get tired, doing 6, 7, 8 jumps in a day, and I can only imagine having somebody that's 150, 200, 250 pounds plus attached to me and flying a canopy that's that big. Certainly, it's difficult work. I have the utmost respect for people that are tandem instructors, and honestly, I don't see how they do it. It's just an awful lot of work. You've kind of got to evaluate the risk versus the reward as well too, and these folks do it. So the tips can be nice depending upon what drop zone and what part of the country you work at. I know some folks that make more in tips than they're actually paid by the drop zone for each jump, and you can also make a little bit more if you pack for yourself. But you talk about hard work. I mean, and when you're turning loads, a lot of times you can't pack for yourself. There's no breaks in between to be able to do so. The tips are obviously not taxed, but most of these TIs are no longer paid in cash. You get 1099 just as you would as a normal employee of that drop zone. So again, some of them are busier than others. There's places that get lots of tandems, and they're kind of tandem factories. They don't really have a large fun jumper presence, so they may get 15 to 20 plus tandems in a day. Sometimes during the weekdays in the summer, they may get 50 or 60, and then on the weekends, they may do hundreds. But it ain't easy, or else everybody would be doing it. Again, you're going to need to get an FAA medical waiver. You're going to need to have 500 jumps, a D license. I believe it's at least 3 years in the sport. You've got to go through the Sigma course. And again, this is manual labor. And while it looks like a lot of fun, I've got a lot of respect for these folks that do tandems. It's not as easy as it may seem. I mean, it's one thing to make this a part-time gig on the weekends, but to do it full-time, it's a hell of a lot of work and not a huge reward, if you ask me.
You've just listened to Send It, a skydiving podcast hosted by Andrew Rawls on World Talk Radio. Send It is the #1 skydiving podcast on the planet, bringing listeners up-to-date information on all things sky sports. Be sure to visit senditradio.com to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our amazing bonus content and articles. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give a review. Until next time, 3, 2, 1. See ya.